Tina. Today I'm going to show you how to make what I am calling the ballroom necklace, because to me it looks like something that you would wear to a ball or something on a cruise or something like that. Now this necklace can be dressed up or down by the beads that you use. You could possibly use a pearl down the center, or you could use little pearls here instead of use your 6mm bicone crystal, but use little 4mm round pearls on the outside. You can change out the beads any way you wanted to. I'm using a Czech peanut seed bead for my loops here and for my inside embellishment. These peanut beads, let me get really close and show you. These peanut beads are shaped like a little peanut. Right in the center, it's 1mm, and the length of it is 4mm. So they're tiny little peanut seed beads. Now you can get them wherever Czech seed beads are sold, and some of the bigger distributing places. Or you can look on Etsy and probably find them. This is just a clear crystal peanut seed bead, Czech seed bead. Or, like I said, you can replace them with something else, and I give you some other options in the next section of the video here. But, like I said, be creative, find different beads to use if you can't find the peanut beads, or you can change out your crystals, whatever you want to. You can make it more casual, or you can make it really dressy with the crystal like I have done. Anyway, let's go ahead and look and see what we need to make this necklace today. Okay, for this project today, you will need clasping of some sort. I'm going to use this little toggle clasp. It's sterling silver coated little toggle. And then you will need 11O seed beads and 8O seed beads. These are both galvanized silver tone. They're galvanized aluminum silver tone permanent finish Tohos is what those are. Quite a mouthful. Then you will need a 4mm bicone crystal and a 6mm bicone crystal. These are both Swarovski. This one, of course, is clear crystal, and this is Siam ruby. You will also need these are little peanut seed beads, and they're small little peanuts. You can use, if you don't have a peanut, you could use something crystally, like an 8O seed bead that's clear crystal, or even an 11O clear crystal will work, or little tiny rondelles, but we're going to use a lot of these. So if you're going to use a tiny rondelle, then you're going to have quite a few of them on hand, because each stitch will take 10 of these little beads, these little peanut beads. If you can't find the peanut beads, however, like I said, then you will just use a seed bead or something else. Then you will need one large crystal. This is 22 by 12, I believe, or 10. It doesn't matter. It's just as long as it's a large top drilled teardrop type crystal, it will work. It doesn't have to be exactly the same size. This is a Swarovski. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Swarovski either. But because I'm using the rest of my crystal in Swarovski, I kind of wanted to keep it that way so that the sparkle stays consistent. So then you will need a size 10 beading needle, or 12, and I'm going to use Nanofil today. I'm using the 8-pound Nanofil today. You can use 8-pound or 6-pound Fireline if you'd like, and you can also use 10-pound Nanofil if you'd like. So you'll need a lot of thread for this stitch. It's a very thirsty stitch. You will need to either extend or tie onto your piece. Let's start with a nice long length. To start, I'm going to start with like a wingspan, but you should probably put 2 wingspans onto your needle if you don't want to extend a lot. I just don't like to pull that much through on camera. And let's go ahead and get started with the stitch. So to start this stitch, you're going to pick up a 4mm bicone crystal, and then you are going to pick up 5 8O seed beads. 3, 4, 5. And then a 4mm Swarovski crystal. And then you are going to pick up 10 peanut beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, oops, I dropped one. I dropped it again. No. So, this is what you should have on your needle for your first stitch. 4mm bicone crystal, 5 8/0 seed beads, 4mm bicone crystal, and 10 peanut beads, or whatever you're using, little tiny rondelles or 8/0s or whatever you've decided to use. Something that will kind of sparkle. Then bring these down to the end of your thread. Leave yourself a pretty good length of tail to put your clasp on. We may not use it. I think we probably will though. I already have devised this stitch, but I haven't made it into a full necklace, so that I will be designing as we do. But I would say leave yourself a good, probably 12-inch tail. I'm not going to leave quite that much just because it's hard for me to sew around while I'm on camera. So leave yourself a good sized tail, and then you're going to come back up through these beads. So what you're going to do is you're going to bypass all of these peanut beads, and you're going to go into the 4mm bicone, all 5 of the 8/0 seed beads, and then up through the top 4mm bicone. Hold on to the bicone, hold on to your tail, and pull the thread through. Your peanut beads will form a loop, like so. Let's get just a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. Now here, on this very end one, we are going to add an 11/0 seed bead. So pick up an 11/0 seed bead, and we are going to drop it down to the crystal on the top of our piece here. So drop it right down here. Now you've got your tail and you've got your working thread coming out. You've got an 11/0 on top. You're going to hold onto your tail, go around your 11/0 seed bead that you put on. Then you're going to go all the way through all the 8/0 seed beads and exit right here. This is a modified St. Petersburg stitch that I'm going to show you today. I'm just making it fancier so we'll have a fancy necklace. So this is where you're going to be exiting. Now we're going to make columns that lie next to each other, but the columns are going to graduate down so that it forms kind of a V shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to build each column from the first column we've made. Each column will have 5 seed beads in it, or 5 8/0 seed beads, and it will also have the crystals and the loop on the bottom. However, we are going to add in between each new column, we're going to add a large bicone crystal. So in order to make room to do that, we're going to pick up 2 11/0 seed beads. Then we're going to pick up 3 8/0 seed beads and 2 11/0 seed beads. So this is what you should have on your needle. 2 11/0s, 3 8/0s, 2 11/0s. You're coming out of the bicone or the 8/0 seed bead right here. You're going to count 3 up. 1, 2, 3, and you're going to go into this third 8/0. So we're going to bypass the 2 on top, or not bypass them, we're just not going to go into them. So then you're going to pull these beads by holding onto your first column. You're going to pull these first beads down. And this first column is always a big mess to try to pull through. It's just one of those things. So you're going to have to untangle your tail, untangle everything, pull your thread through, and make sure that these beads just come nice like this. So you have like a little P shape or a D or something like that, but you have this little loop here. Now we're going to sew through all of these. These 3 8/0 seed beads will be the core of our next column. This 11/0 space here in this loop here is where we will place our bicone crystal in between the columns. So we need to firm this up. So we need to go back up. We're coming out of this 8/0 here. We're going to go into the 11/0s. And we're going to do this separately because we want to form a square. So we're going to go into the 11/0s, and then we will go into the 8/0s here. So go into the 3 8/0s and pull through. Doing it in steps like this instead of just grabbing as many on your needle as you can and then pulling through. Kind of helps ensure the shape that we want. Then go through these two 11-ohs on top here and pull through. Now you are going to go into the 3 on the column again, right here. You'll have to pull your tail several times to tighten up that first column. It'll come loose. When we finish the necklace and go up to the top here to make our clasping, we'll tighten that up. Now, you're coming out of this 8-oh seed bead on the bottom here. You're going to go into these two 11-ohs and just the 11-ohs right on top of this crystal where the peanut loop is, and pull the thread through like so. Then adjust my thread, sorry. Then we are going to pick up an 11-oh seed bead, a 6mm bicone crystal, and an 11-oh seed bead onto our needle like this. We're coming out of these two 11-ohs here. We're going to skip these 3 8-ohs and we're going to go into the two 11-ohs on top here on the same side. So we're exiting here. We're going to go in here and just the two 11-ohs. Then we are going to pull this all down. And like I said, on the first column, everything is gets kind of messed up, so just bear with me. I'm going to pull my tail to make sure my column doesn't fall apart. Now, this is what I have. I am coming out of the two 11-ohs right here. Now I'm going to pick up another 11-oh seed bead. I'm going to go down into, so I have an 11-oh. I'm going to go down into this crystal here, the 6mm bicone, and I'm going to tangle everything up and get rid of my tangle here. Sorry guys. Okay. I would refilm that so it's smoother, but it just happened again. So I've come through this crystal. I'm going to push this crystal on top of this loop here, and I am going to pull this tight. There's no graceful way of doing this with all the thread that you have starting out and your long tail and all that. It's just going to be messy at first. Now I'm coming out of the crystal. I am going to go into these two bottom 11-ohs that I started in on the opposite side that I started in. So I'm going to come up through these two 11-ohs and I'm going to pull my thread through without tangling it, hopefully. It does get better, so don't get discouraged already. It's as we work through it, it gets a little easier to manage. Now I'm coming out of these two 11-ohs. I am going to go up into the 3 8-ohs here. What I have to do now is build my next column exactly like this column, except for I want it to graduate down in a diagonal. So I'm going to call this my top bead. Just like this one here is my top one. This is going to be the top in my 8-oh column part. I'm going to pick up my bicone crystal, my 4mm bicone here, and then I'm going to pick up an 11-oh seed bead like this so that I can now make this part of my column. So I'm going to drop these two down to my piece like so. Let me back off just slightly because I keep getting out of frame. And then now that this is laying on top of my 3 8-ohs here, I am going to go around the 11-oh seed bead, back into the bicone crystal, and then into the 3 8-oh seed beads right here. And pull this down. Now I have successfully formed the top part of my column from 3 8-oh seed beads up. Now I need to go from 3 8-oh seed beads down and form the rest of my column. So I need to pick up two 8 seed beads so that I have 5 in total, like I have in this column. So I'm going to pick up 5, and then I'm going to pick up 2 to make my 5, and then I'm going to pick up a 4mm bicone crystal. Then I am going to pick up my 10 peanut beads. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 2 8-0s, my bicone, my 10 peanut beads, and I'm going to drop it down to the column that I'm creating. Like so. Then we are going to come back up through the column that we're creating. So we're going to just bypass the peanut beads, go into the bicone crystal, count 3 8-0 seed beads up. So you'll count the 2 that you added and then 1 on the piece of work. And you will pull the piece up together like so. Now you have 2 complete columns with a bicone crystal in between. Now we have to build, we're coming out of these 3 here. This will be the part that we'll build our next column from. So we need to put on our bicone crystal in between the column. And you can see how this column is just a little lower than this column. That's what we want to do. We want to graduate down. So now we are going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and 3 8-0 seed beads, and then 2 11-0 seed beads. If I can get one. Sorry guys, taking too long. So 2 11-0s, 3 8-0s, 2 11-0s. I'm coming out of this 8-0. I'm going to go down into the bottom 8-0 here. So we'll always be working out of the bottom 3 8-0s to build our next column. So we'll pick up these 3, hold on to your piece and pull your thread through as gracefully as possible. Here it's not quite as hard. The first one you're going to have a tangle or something. It just happens. Okay, so now I'm coming out of these on these 3 8-0s on my column. I am going to sew through this entire loop I just added. So I'm going to go through my 2 11-0s here, and I'm going to do it a segment at a time. So I'll go through the 2 11-0s, then I'll go through the 3 8-0s, then I'll go through the 2 11-0s, then I'll go up through the 3 8-0s on my column here. Oops, let's get that untangled. And then we're going to go through these 2 11-0s and add our bicone crystal. So let's go through the 2 11-0s right here. It'd be easier if you flipped your piece over, but I'm not doing that. So pull your thread through, and now you will pick up an 11-0, a 6mm bicone crystal, and an 11-0 onto your needle like this. Then you're coming out of this 11-0 here, we're going to go down into the opposite 11-0 on the same side. So we're going to go in here into the 2 11-0s right here. We're going to hold onto your piece and just kind of pull the crystal through so nothing tangles. And then put the crystal on top of the loop. Then pick up an 11-0 seed bead, go back into just the crystal, hold on to it, pull your thread through, tighten it up, then pick up another 11-0 seed bead onto your needle. And now we're going to go into these 2 11-0s here on this side. So I'm going to go into this 11-0 here, both of them actually, the 2 11-0s. Try to avoid anything else. And pull your seed bead down to the top of the bicone, like this. Now we have successfully made a column and the loop. Now we need to make our next column. So we need to go down just into the 3 8-0 seed beads here. Now, instead of making the top first this time, we're coming out towards the bottom. So we're going to make the bottom of our column first. Just always remember what's in your column. You will always have the same amount of beads in your column. So if you're coming out this way, you have 3 8-0 seed beads. You need to pick up 2 more 8-0 seed beads to make 5 8-0s in your column. You're coming out this way, so you want to make your bicone in your loop. So you got 2 8-0 seed beads, a bicone crystal, and then your 10 peanut beads. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, come here. 10. Okay. So this is what we have to build the bottom of our column. 2 8-0s, a bicone, and 10 peanuts. I'm going to drop this down like so. Now I am going to just skip the peanut beads and go up through the bicone crystal and all 5 of the 8-0s in the column I'm creating. Pull this up into a loop. Now we have to build the top of our column. We have the entire bottom, but we don't have this half. So we have to build this half, which is just a bicone crystal and an 11-0 seed bead, like so. So we'll just be working through our piece. Whatever direction we come out after making our loop is the end that we'll start on. This one we started on this end, this one we started on this end, but either way you'll work through it and make an entire column. So now we have made the top, so we're just going to go around the 11-0 seed bead into the bicone crystal and down all the way to the bottom 8-0 and exit, because we want to use the bottom 3 8-0 seed beads to make our next column. So you will go all the way down so that they are available for your next stroke upwards. Now we will pick up 2 11-0 seed beads onto our needle. Then we will pick up 3 8-0 seed beads onto, got 11-0s stuck in there, onto our needle, and then 2 more 11-0s. If I can get them. Oh, I'm having a hard time. Okay, 2 11-0s, 3 8-0s, 2 11-0s. We're coming out of the bottom 8-0 seed bead. We're going to count 3 8-0 seed beads up. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We're going to go into this third one right here. Let me drop these down. Go into this third seed bead, and then the 2 beneath it. So we have 3 8-0s on our needle, and we're going to pull the new loop down against those 3 8-0 seed beads like so. Then we're going to reinforce, whoops, it's flying away. We're going to reinforce these 2 11-0s here, and then go up through these 3 here, and then into the 2 here, back down into the 3 that we're anchored to right here, pull the thread through. Then we're just going to go into, and make my little loop better shape here, go into these 2 11-0 seed beads. Pull your thread through. Now you're going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, a 6mm bicone crystal, and an 11-0 seed bead onto your needle, like so. Now you're coming out of this 11-0 here, we're going to go into this 11-0 here. So we're going to go directly up into the 2 top ones and pick them up and pull through. Lay it on top of the loop that you've just created as neatly as possible. And then pick up an 11/0 seed bead and go into the bicone crystal here. Get my thread over here so I don't make a big mess. Pull it down like so. Pick up an 11/0 seed bead, go into the two 11/0s on the bottom here, and pull the seed bead down. Tighten your embellishment so that it does not get loose and funny looking. Now we're coming out of the two 11/0s underneath the crystal. We're going to go up into the 3 8/0s in our loop here. You have to straighten them out. Sometimes they want to curve with the loop. When you do this next step, it should straighten them out. And pick all 3 of them up. And now we're coming out towards the top. This is the middle of our column here. We're coming out towards the top, so we have to build the top. This will be our top 8/0 seed bead. We'll add the other 2 on the bottom. So what we have to do is pick up a bicone crystal and an 11/0 seed bead. Just remember, you're just working. No matter which way your needle comes out, you're going to finish the column on that end, come back through, and then finish the column on the other end, regardless if it's the top or the bottom. So now we're going to go around the 11/0 seed bead into the 3 8/0s here. We need to finish the bottom of the column, so that means we need to add 2 8/0 seed beads, a bicone crystal, and then our 10 peanut beads. And I'm sure you guys are sick of me counting these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like so. Then I'm going to drop this down. I am going to skip the peanut beads, come up through the bicone crystal, the 2 8/0s I added, and 1 8/0 on my piece already. And make my column. Like so. I have finished my column. Now you can see that this is graduating down. Each one will go downwards until we get to the center of our necklace, then we will build going up. So I want you to continue doing these columns, building them regardless of where you're coming out. Here I'm coming out here. Now you know you have to build in the bottom 3. Don't try to build up this way. We'll do one more loop, and then you can finish the column, and we will do several units until we get to the center. So 2 11/0s and 3 8/0s and 2 11/0s, and then we'll go up into the bottom 8/0 seed bead, count 3 up. Well, where our thread is exiting is where we're going to come out anyway, right there. Now you're going to secure your loop, put your bicone crystal in, and then from these 3 8/0s you'll build your next column, and you'll continue doing that until you have 20 units. Now the way I'm counting my units is by counting the 6mm bicone in the center of them here. If you count the little bicones on top or the little loops on the bottom, you won't get the same count more than likely. So just count the bicones in the middle, and when you have 20 of them, then you will be at the length that I am at. Now we're coming out of this third 8/0 seed bead right here, and we're going to make our center area, but we need to make one more loop for our bicone first. So we're going to do the step as we would like we were going to make our next column. It's just going to be a little different this time. So what you're going to do is pick up 2 11/0s and 3 8/0s and 2 11/0s, just like you have been doing to make your next column. So 2 11 O's, let's get just a little closer. 2 11 O's, 3 8 O's, 2 11 O's. I'm coming out of this third 8-0 here on my piece. Now if you happen to be coming the other direction, just if you're coming out of the bottom here, just do the same thing I'm doing, just do it from the bottom. Because as we make our columns, we could have got turned around the other way than I am coming out. So either way, if you're coming out of the bottom or you're coming out of the top, you'll make the column just like you've been making them. Now, or the loop, I mean. So let's go ahead and put our loop on by going up these 3 8-0 seed beads right here and pulling the thread through. Now I'm going to sew around this to secure it, just as I have been doing all along. So I'll go through the 2 11 O's, the 3 8 O's, the 2 11 O's on the bottom here, 2 8-0 or the 3 8-0s on my piece that I'm attaching to, and then I will come through the 2 11 O's on top here. I'm just turning it over so I can reach it better. Come through, and then I will add my crystal just as I have been doing all along. So I will pick up an 11-0, a 6mm bicone crystal, and an 11-0. I'm coming out of the 2 11-0s here. I will not go into these 3 8-0s. I will go into the 2 on the bottom here, on the same side that I'm coming out of the 11-0s up here, and pull my bicone crystal down over the loop. And then I'll pick up an 11-0 seed bead, go up through the crystal, pull my thread through, pick up an 11-0 seed bead, and go through the opposite side of the 2 11-0s that I started in, right here. And pull that 11-0 seed bead down. Then I will go into these 3 8-0 seed beads on the side here. It's like this. Now we're going to make a little bit different units here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up 1 11-0 seed bead, 3 8-0 seed beads, and 1 11-0. Right, like this. We're not going to build the rest of the column. We're going to make another loop. So this is what you'll have on your needle, and you'll go into the opposite side of the 3 8-0s you're exiting from, and pull. Now we're going to sew back through the 11-0 here first, then the 3 8-0s here, and then the 11-0. Go back down through the 8-0s you're attaching to just to secure your loop. Then go into just the 11-0 on the bottom here. Now we are going to add a bicone crystal on the top, just like we have been doing here, except for we're going to use a 4mm. What I'm using is the cyan ruby, so that's what I'll be using is my 4mm red one. So I'm going to pick up 1 11-0 seed bead, and then I am going to go into the, and then I'm going to pick up a bicone crystal, then another 11-0 seed bead. I'm coming out of this side of this 11-0. I'm going to find the 11-0 on the opposite side here and go into it on the opposite side. Just like this. And pull. And then I'm going to come down into the 3 8-0 seed beads here. Now I'm going to make the same unit again. So I'm going to pick up 1 11-0 seed bead, 3 8-0 seed beads, 1 11-0 seed bead, like this. I'm coming out of these 3 8-0s. I'm going to go into these 3 8-0s that I'm attaching to, pull it down, sew through the 11-0, then the 3/8 to secure it, just like we've been doing, then the 11-0 here, down through the 3/8 that I'm securing to, and then into this 11-0 on the bottom here. Just the 11-0. And again, we're going to put another 4mm bicone in. We will pick up an 11-0 seed bead, a 4mm bicone, and an 11-0 seed bead, like so. We're coming out of this side of the 11-0. We are going to go into the opposite side of the 11-0 on the opposite side of the unit, like so, and pull that crystal down into the loop. And then you're going to sew back down into these 3/8 seed beads right here. I can't get all 3, so I'm going to, well, come on. There we go. I don't really know why that was giving me such a battle. But now here we are going to do something a little different. We're going to add a little dangle on the bottom with our big crystal. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into this 11-0 seed bead. We're going to go up into these 3. I just want to secure my 4mm bicone here. So we're just going to go up into these 3. And then we're going to sew into this 11-0 here. Down into these 3/8 seed beads here. Right here. And then we are going to go into the little 11-0 right here. Now we're going to make a little tiny dangle before we put on our big crystal. So we're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and a bicone crystal, the 4mm, and then an 11-0 seed bead. We're going to drop this down, so we have 2 11-0s, a bicone, and 11-0. We're going to drop this down to our piece. Now we are coming from the inside of this little 11-0 here. We're going to go into the, around this 11-0 here. So we drop these down, go around the 11-0 and into the bicone crystal, just avoid the 11-0. Then go up into the 2 11-0s on top of the bicone crystal and pull. Now go into the 11-0 on the inside here, right here. Don't go over the 11-0 on this side and cross your thread over the top of it. Go into the inside of the hole here. And pull this centered. So you can move the little piece that you just put on so it's right in the center. When you very first make it, it'll pull over to this side because this is the bead you're originally attaching to. But as soon as you go through this bead, then you can pull the entire thing over and center it. And then you're coming out of this little 11-0 seed bead here. What you are going to then do is you're going to pick up 5, or actually an 11-0 seed bead, and then 5 peanut beads or whatever you're using for your little clear bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to set this down. So I have an 11-0, 5 peanut beads. Then I'm going to go through my teardrop crystal like so. Let me back off a little bit. Bring this down to my piece. Then I'm going to pick up 5 more peanut beads, or actually, I want an 11-0 seed bead before I pick up my big crystal. Sorry guys. So you have an 11-0, 5 peanuts, and then an 11-0, and then your crystal. Sorry about that. but this will protect your crystal a little bit better, or your thread against the edge of your crystal. So pick up an 11-0, go through your crystal, bring this down, then pick up an 11-0, pick up 5 peanut beads, and then an 11-0, like so. Now we are going to go into the opposite side over here. Let's get really close. So we are coming out of this 11-0 on the outside. We are going to go over to this 11-0 here and go in from the outside and pull a loop, like so. And we're going to straighten it out, make sure it's going to look good here. That's good. So now we're coming out of the little 11-0, and we're going to go up through the center 8-0s in the 2 units we made with the bicone crystals on them. So just come up through those 3 8-0s in the center and pull. Make sure you don't get so much tension that you stick this little dangly guy way up in the air, because as you pull on it, it'll want to kind of move up in the air, and we want it to just hang over just the top of the teardrop crystal, like so. And then we're coming out of these 3 8-0s here. I'm going to turn this over just so it's more accessible to my hand. I'm going to go through the little 11-0 on top here, right here. Turn it back over. Let me back off a little bit. Then I'm going to go down through the 3 8-0s on this side. Okay, so now we're coming out of these 3 little 8-0 seed beads right here. And we're going to make another loop just to put a 6mm bicone in, and then on the other side of that loop we will start making our columns. So we'll do the same thing we've been doing. We'll pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and 3 8-0 seed beads and 2 11-0 seed beads. So we've got 2 11-0s, 3 8-0s, 2 11-0s. We're going to make the loops like we have been for the large crystals now. So we're coming out of this side of the 3 8-0s. We're going to go into the opposite side of the 3 8-0s and bring this together like so. Then we're going to sew through the 2 11-0s. We'll secure this unit, go up through the 3 8-0s, go into the 2 11-0s, go into the 3 8-0s here that we're attaching to, and then go into the 2 11-0s on the bottom. Now actually I think I'm going to sew up to the top 11-0s so that when I get done I will be in line to go to my next stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and sew all the way up to the top 2 11-0s. So into these 2 11-0s here, and then I'm going to pick up an 11-0, a 6mm bicone, and an 11-0. I'm coming out of this side of these 11-0s. I'm going to go into this side right here and go through the 2 11-0s like we have been doing. Bring the crystal into the loop, pick up an 11-0, go into the crystal, pick up an 11-0, and even though I did it this way, I'm still going to have to sew around. So go into the 2 top 11-0s here. That's an 8-0, 2 11-0s. To get around to my 8-0 seed beads to start making my next column, I'm going to have to sew through this column of 8-0s here, that we attached our loop to originally, right here. And then I'll go into my 11-ohs and into my 3/8-ohs. So we're coming out of the 3/8-ohs now, and now we need to build our necklace up this way instead of coming down this way. So we are creating columns with 5/8-oh seed beads. We have to add 2 in order to do that because we've only got 3 here on our column already. But instead of adding them to the bottom like we've been doing, we're now going to add them to the top of our column. So we're going to pick up 2 8/oh seed beads, then we're going to pick up a bicone crystal, and we are going to pick up an 11/oh seed bead. We're going to drop this down to the 3 8/ohs on our column. We're going to go around the 11/oh seed bead into the bicone crystal and down through all 5/8-ohs in our column. This should straighten them out. They're kind of all funny directions here. Pull this down. Now we'll make the bottom of our column. So we'll pick up a bicone, and then we'll pick up 10 peanut beads. So I have a bicone and 10 beads. I'm going to drop this down like so. Now, in order to make my loop, I am going to just go back into the bicone crystal, and then I'm going to go up through all 5 of my 8/oh seed beads and exit the top one. Now before, we were adding 2 8/oh seed beads to the bottom, and then we were building our loop for the 6mm bicone from the bottom 3. Now we're going to exit the top 3. We're adding 2 to the top. We're going to exit the top 3, and we're going to build our little loop for our 6mm bicone from the top beads. So what we need to do is we need to pick up 2 11/oh seed beads, 3 8/oh seed beads, and 2 11/oh seed beads. Like this. I'm coming out here. I'm going to count down 3 8/ohs and go into the third one on the bottom side here. Like this. And then I'm going to pull my thread through. Like so. Let me shorten the thread in my needle here. It's starting to double. There we go. Now I will sew through these and secure them just like I was doing before. So I'll go through the 2 11/oh seed beads, and then the 3 8/oh seed beads, and then the 2 11/oh seed beads. Then I'll attach to the 3 that I'm attaching to, so I'll go up through those 3 like so. Now we're going to go through the 2 11/oh seed beads on the top here, my hand's in a very strange position. Sorry guys, let's see if I can get through here. There we go. Now we're going to add the bicone crystals. So we're coming out of these 2 11/ohs. We're going to pick up an 11/oh, a 6mm bicone, and an 11/oh, and we're going to go down into the 2 11/ohs here. Now my 8/ohs look all strange. Just ignore those. We'll straighten them out as we sew back through them. So just go through the 11/ohs on the bottom here and pull your crystal into the loop, and then pick up an 11/oh, go up through the crystal, and then pick up an 11/oh, and then go through the 2 top 11/ohs that you started in. I hope this doesn't look as jumbled up as it does to me. I'm in such a strange position here. Get through these 2 11/ohs. pull, and then I'm going to sew down through the 8/0 seed beads right here, and I'm going to make the bottom of my column. So I don't want to add any 8/0s because I'll add them as I come back up. But what I will do is I will pick up a bicone crystal, and then I will pick up my 10 little peanut beads, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I will drop this down, and then I will go around, or I'll just ignore the peanut beads, go up into the bicone, then I will come up into the 3/8 here. And now that I'm coming up towards the top, I need to finish the top of this column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 2 8/0 seed beads, and then I'm going to pick up a bicone crystal and an 11/0 seed bead. And I will drop these down to my piece. Now I am going to go around the 11/0, and then I'll just go down 3 8/0 seed beads and exit the third one. So I count the 2 I just added, darn it, there, and then go through the first one on the column that's existing, right there. Now I have my completed column, and you can see, I know it seems kind of jumbled at first, but you can see now that this side is the same as this side, it's just that we're going up instead of coming down. So now we'll make one more unit so that you understand. You have to work through it just like you did on the other side. If you're coming out of the bottom of the 3 seed beads here, you make your loop, and if you're coming through the bottom, then you'll go to the bottom first and make the bottom of the column. If you're coming out the top, you'll make the top of the column, and you'll just work those units like that, because you'll never come out the same way each time. Either you'll be coming out of the bottom of the 3 beads that you want to add to, or you'll be coming out of the top. So now we're coming out of the bottom here. We're going to pick up 2 11/0 seed beads. We have to make, and then 3 8/0s. We have to make our loop now, and then 2 11/0s. So 2 11/0s, 3 8/0s, 2 11/0s. We're coming out of this 8/0 seed bead here. We're going to go into the top here, next to the bicone crystal, and then we'll exit the third 8/0 where our thread is originally exiting here, and pull this loop down, and hopefully not around the bicone. There we go. And then again, we're going to sew into the 2 11/0s first, and then into the 3 8/0s here, and then into the 2 11/0s here, and then into the 3 we're attaching to. Then we'll go into the 2 11/0s again and exit here. Now we want to put on the 6mm bicone crystal, so we will pick up an 11/0 seed bead, the big bicone, darn it, come here bicone, and then an 11/0 seed bead. We're coming out of this side, we're going to go into this side of the 2 11/0s, just the 11/0s, and exit them. Pull the bicone and the 11/0s we just added over the top, and then we will go down into the, we'll pick up an 11/0. We'll go down into the crystal, like so, and then we'll pick up another 11/0. We'll go down into the 2 11/0s on the bottom here, like so, and then we'll travel up the 3 8/0s and finish our column of seed beads. So we're going up this way here. So since we're coming up towards the top, we're going to finish the top of the column. We will pick up 2 8/0s. Always as you're coming up through the top now, you'll pick up 2 8/0s, And then you'll pick up a bicone crystal and you'll pick up an 11-0. Drop these down like so. Go around the 11-0 seed bead into the bicone crystal and into all 5 8-0s like so. Then we'll build the bottom of the column now. So we'll pick up a bicone, our 10 peanut beads, okay, I've got my 10. Drop them down, make sure that's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yep. And then I'm going to go back up through the bicone, back into all 5 beads. Of course, we're building our loop from the top 3 now. So we're going to go all the way through. Now we're coming out of the very, whoops, I'm sorry, I hope you could see that. I just went through the bicone back up, and now we're exiting the very top of the column here, right underneath the bicone crystal. We'll build our loop from the top 3, and then we'll secure it, put on the bicone crystal, sew through your 8-0s, whichever direction you're coming out, which now you'll be coming out of the bottom. You'll build your bottom of your column first, come back up through, build the top of the column. Again, you'll come out of either the bottom of the top 3 beads or probably the bottom of the top 3 beads, build your loop, and just move through. Just like we did on this side, except for now we're building towards the top instead of building towards the bottom. So go ahead and make 20 units, or have 20 bicones down the center. Actually 21, because we added this one. So you will count this one here and make 21 bicones all the way to the end, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I have finished my 21 units on this side, or at least my 21 loops with the bicone crystal. So you're going to count your bicone crystals until you have 21 of them, then it will be the same length as it is on this side. Of course, start with the bicone crystal right next to the 2 red bicone crystals. Start with this 6mm bicone and count your 21. Now, we have 2 sides of our necklace. However, this necklace is not long enough to actually go around the neck and wear nicely. If you have a very, very small neck, I suppose. But what I intended was to make an extension area in the back so that these units are not going to be laying towards the back. They will be more on your collarbone area, a little bit above the collarbone, and we will make an extension towards the back that will connect in the back of your neck. So what we're going to do is, which will also save with a lot of crystal and a lot of work, we are going to use a little bit of crystal, I think, back here. So let's see how we want to devise this little extension. Now, I'm coming out of this 3rd 8-0 seed bead here after putting the top part of my column on, which I would be positioned and ready to make my next column. Well, what I want to do now is I want to work out of these 3, excuse me, I'm yawning. I want to work out of these 3 middle beads here instead of these 3 top beads. So I'm going to go through 1 more bead right here. That way it'll center me in the middle of my column here. So we'll be working through the 3 middle beads. I have an 8-0 on the bottom and 1 on the top that we will not be working through. So what we need to do to make this a round shape is we're going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads, and then we're going to pick up, if I can get one that'll pick up, 3 11-0 seed beads, and then 3 8-0 seed beads and 2 11-0 seed beads. So you'll have on your needle 3 11-0s, 3 8-0s, and 2 11-0s. Now we want to make the outside part, this is the outside of the necklace where the loops are, We want to make the outside a little bit wider than the inside. So that's why we're going down to 2 11-0 seed beads. That way it'll make a curve in our necklace around the back if the outside has more beads than the inside. So we're coming out of this third bead here. We're going to skip this top 8-0. We're going to go into this second 8-0, and we're just going to work in the middle 3 8-0 seed beads. So go into that second 8-0, go into the 3 middle, and then pull your beads down, like so. Now you're going to go through the 3 11-0 seed beads right here. Then you go through the 3 8-0s, and then you're going to go through the 2 11-0s. Now I'm going to go through the beads I'm attaching to too, since this is my first unit here. We want to really secure that. So I'm going to go through those beads too. Now I think I want to try to put a crystal in the middle here. Now you don't have to. You can make these links all the way around if you'd like, and not put bicone crystals in it if you feel like that's how you want to do it, if you want to save on crystal. But I'm coming out of these 3 here. I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead, and then I'm going to pick up, actually I'm going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, and then I'm going to pick up a bicone crystal, a 6 millimeter, and then I'm going to pick up 1 11-0 seed bead. So 2 11-0s, a bicone crystal, and 1 11-0. Then I'm going to go into, so I'm coming out of these 3 here. I am going to, actually I want to slide down into these 3. I'm sorry, I'm changing the situation here. So before you put your beads on that I just showed you, you're going to go into these 3 bottom 11-0s. Sorry about that. Now pick up your 2 11-0s, your bicone crystal, and your 11-0 on top here. I am designing this as I am doing this film, so I apologize if I'm a little choppy here. So this is what we're going to do. Now we're going to go into these 2 11-0s on top. So we're coming out of the 3 11-0s on the bottom. We're going to go through the 2 11-0s towards the inside of the necklace, or the top, whichever you want to call it. Pull that bicone crystal in, pick up 1 11-0, go in through the top of the crystal here, pick up 2 11-0s, and then go into the 3 11-0s on the bottom that we started in here, and pull tight. And this is what you should have. Now we're going to go up through the 3 8-0 seed beads here. We're coming out towards the inside, so we're just going to pick up 2 11-0s. Anytime we're working towards the inside of our necklace, the outside will always be where the loops are that we made. The inside, of course, just the 1 little bicone crystal sticking out. So you're going, if you're coming out towards the little bicone crystal sticking out, you're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, then 3 8-0s, and then 3 11-0s for the outside. Now we're exiting here on the 3 8-0s. We're going to go into the opposite side from which our thread is exiting and pull these beads into a loop, like so. Now we're going to go through the 2 11-0s on top here, the 3 8-0s here, so you can see it, the 3 11-0s here, and now we are going to, oops, I just pulled the whole thing. Now we're going to go up these 3 also that we're attaching to just to secure it. Then we're going to go through the 2 11-0s on top, And here we will attach a bicone crystal. So since we're coming out of the top, on the inside here, we just need one 11-0 and then a bicone crystal and then two 11-0s. Now as you're working, putting your crystals on or making your loops, anything towards the outside is where you're going to use your more seed beads. So since we use one seed bead, a bicone crystal, and two seed beads, that is because we're starting on the inside and we're going to the outside. So that's why I have picked up this combination. Then I'm going to go into the 3 on the bottom here, the 3 11-0s on the bottom of my loop, pull this through. Now I'm going to pick up, because I'm on the outside, I'm going to pick up two 11-0 seed beads. I'll go through the crystal, then I'll pick up one 11-0 seed bead, and I will go through the two 11-0s in the original loop we made on top here. If I can get to it, there we go. And pull it through. And then I will sew down the 3 8-0 seed beads, and I'll start again. I'm coming out, poof, go through the 3 8-0s here. And now I'm coming out towards the outside of my necklace, so I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads to start my loop. If I was coming out towards the inside, I would pick up 2. Now I'm going to pick up 3, and then I'm going to pick up 3 8-0s, and then I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s, like so. And then I'm coming out of these 3 8-0s on this side. I'm going to go to the opposite side and go into all 3 of them at once, like so. Then I'm going to pull this loop down. I'm going to go through my 3 11-0 seed beads on the bottom here, my 8-0s together at once, just 3 8-0s, and then I'm going to go through the 2 11-0s, and the reason I'm doing this in sections is so that it kind of retains the shape I want. Now I'm coming out of these 2 11-0s here. I'm going to go into the 3 I attached to, simply to make sure the link is strong. Then I'll go into the 3 on the bottom, the 11-0s here on the bottom of my loop that I'm creating. And now I will add my bicone crystal. I'm on the bottom or the outside of my necklace. Because the loops are here, you can tell I'm on the outside. I have my 3 11-0s here, so I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s first, then a bicone crystal, then 1 11-0, and I will go through the 2 11-0s on top of my loop here, or towards the inside of my necklace, and pull my bicone crystal down on top of the loop I just created. Then I'll pick up 1 11-0 seed bead, since I am on the inside of the necklace. Pick up 1. I will go back through the bicone crystal I just put on, like so. Then I will pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, and I will go into the 3 on the bottom here, the 3 11-0s in my original loop, right there. And I will pull through. And then I will go up the 3 8-0s, and I will start the entire process again. We will do this according to how long you want your necklace to be. So we will go until we have 8 units. That is what I have made, is 8 units of the extension. Now this is where you're going to modify the length of your necklace. If you want it to be longer or shorter, these are the units that you will modify to accomplish that. And right now, this necklace with the extension will measure to be just slightly over 19 inches. Once I put the clasp on, it'll be 20 inches. Now, I intend to do another embellishment on the inside that may draw it in just a little bit. I want to have at least 18 inches as my finished project. So that's why I have done the length I'm doing right now. And at this point, I'm going to put my clasp on this end. So what I'm going to do is, find my needle here. I've extended my Fireline, so it's really long thread again. And what I'm going to do is I'm coming out of these 3 8/0 seed beads after putting my last little extension unit on. I'm going to pick up 2 11/0 seed beads, and then I'm going to pick up an 8/0, and then I'm going to pick up a 6mm crystal and an 8/0, like this. And I am going to drop this down to the units here, just like so. And then I am going to go through one end of my clasping. So I'll go through here and drop this down. And then what I am going to do is go back through this 8/0, the crystal, and this 8/0. So I'll go back through these 3 beads, like so, and pull all my thread through and arrange this so it's nice and laying pretty like this. And then I'll pick up 2 more 11/0 seed beads, and I will go into the other side of the 3 8/0s I'm attaching to. So I'll pick this up and I'll go through these 3 8/0s right here and pull this through. And this is what that should look like. Now I'm going to sew back through all of this I just put on exactly how I sewed through it the first time. So I'll go through the 2 11/0s on this side, the 8/0, the crystal, the 8/0, go around my clasp, go back down through and down through these 2 11/0s after I come through, and then back through the 8/0s. And I'll do that about 3 or 4 times, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I have secured my clasping on now. And now I'm coming out of these 3 8/0 seed beads right here. I need to work my way down to my main body of work because I want to climb up into the crystals on top here and do my last embellishment. Work my way over to the other side, and then I will make the extension on the other side and put the clasping on. So what I'm going to do is I'm coming out of these 3 8/0s right here. We're going to go into the 2 11/0s. We're going to go into the main units we created. So just to sew ourselves back down and get to the area we want to be in. So I'm going to turn this over. This is the back of my embellishment, and I'm going to sew through it. I'm coming through these 2 11/0s. I'm going to go through these 3 8/0s. Then I will sew into these 3 11/0s here. So there's 2 on one side and 3 on the other, if you remember. So remember to go through all 3 if you're on that side, and then go through the 8/0s, and then go through the 11/0s. And we're going to continue doing this until we sew all the way down to the end, and we will be back at that point. Okay, so as you can see, I've sewn all the way down to this point right here. I'm coming out of these 3 8/0s. Now I want to get up into these crystals. So normally you would try to sew all the way around until you're coming up those crystals, but I'm going to, I don't think it's going to hurt anything to get off our thread path a little bit. I'm going to go through these 2 11/0s here. And then I'm going to hop up into this 8/0 in this embellishment right here. So this is the inside of the necklace. Let me back off and give you some reference to where we're at. This is the outside because this is where we've made our loops. This is the inside. These are the 4mm bicones that are sticking up. We are going to go into the 8/0 seed bead right underneath that first crystal and go through the crystal itself, like so. Now, we are going to go into the very top little 11/0 that we used for our fringing. As we do this, we'll kind of straighten them out because they're going to lay whatever way they want because it's a fringing stitch. But we're going to go through it like so. And then we're going to make a little dangly top. Now, I don't want to cinch my necklace in too much, so I'm going to try 3 of my peanut beads, and I'm going to slide from top fringing stitch 11/0 to the next top fringing stitch 11/0. So I've got 3 peanut beads, and then I'm going to slide into the next 11/0, like so. I just want them to be kind of loopy and loose, and I mean not loose, you don't want any slack in your thread, but I just want it to be kind of a pretty little, oh, I don't know, it's kind of a little lacy effect. So I'm just going to slide through each one. Now if you want it to be even lacier, you can add more than 3 beads between, and you can make it kind of loopy and loose if you want. I think I'm just going to do it this way because I do want it to draw up my necklace in a little bit. So I had the idea that I want it to be kind of swanky in between, but that's not really working. So we're just going to continue putting 3 11-0 seed bead, or sorry, 3 peanut beads, or whatever you're using for your bead for your sparkle on the bottom. We're going to put that all the way until we get to the very middle one sticking up here, and then we'll be back. So we're just going to do one complete side, and we'll be back. So when you get here, stop, and turn back on your video player. Okay, so I have finished this entire side. Now you can see that this has cinched it in, and I've lost quite a bit of length just cinching in with my peanut beads. So that's why we needed the extension so badly. Of course, if you don't want to cinch it in quite this much, you can add 4 or 5 peanut beads. But I will tell you at the very end exactly how much length we have lost and exactly what this necklace will actually measure to. So now I'm all the way to the center here. Let me get this in the camera a little better and get you a little closer. So I'm coming out of this top 11-0 seed bead right here. And I have to join this side with this side. So I'm going to pick up 5 peanut beads. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I am going to pick up a 4mm bicone crystal just to add a little bit more interest. I'm going to drop those down. Then I'm going to pick up 5 more peanut beads. We're going to see how well this fills up our little space here. We want a little bit of excess length here just because that's going to help give us overall length. So now I have my 5 peanuts, my bicone crystal, and my 5 peanuts, and I'm going to go into this crystal, or this 11-0 seed bead on top of the crystal here, and pull my thread through. And I think that's just about right. That's going to give me the movement that I need and want. So then we are going to continue putting 3 peanut beads all the way to the end again between the 11-0 seed beads on the inside here. Now, as you do this, you want no slack in your thread, but you don't want to pull it extremely tight either, or you're really going to cinch your necklace in. You're going to lose more length, and it's going to bunch. So you don't want that. You just want a nice, even tension through, not a tight tension. So I've got my 3 little peanut beads. I'm going to slide into my next 11-0 seed bead here, and I'm going to continue working my way up this side of this side of the necklace now. So let's continue doing that. When we get to the very last crystal, the very last 11-0 on top of the crystal, I should say, we will be back, and I will show you how to begin the extension on the other side, and then we will be pretty much finished with this design. Okay, so I have finished doing this entire side with the peanut beads, and as you can see, it has really cinched in quite a bit, and I've lost quite a bit of length. So now it's going to be more of a collar necklace than a 20-inch long V-shaped necklace. This is going to be more round shape, and it's going to fit more up on the collarbones. So what I'm going to do now, I'm coming out of my very, let's see, let's get you close. I'm coming out of this 11-0 seed bead. I have to pick up my 3 peanut beads, which I have done, and bring them down. And I'm going to connect to the unit that we started in. Now, we've got our tail thread coming through here. It's not terribly secure, so just go through it gently. Here. And pull your peanut beads through. leave the tail there for the moment, just because we don't want this last unit to fall apart, and we'll have to avoid it with our long thread. So I'm just going to tuck the tail over here. I'm going to make sure that I have decent tension on my embellishment thread, my working thread. I don't want to pull it tight and bunch my peanut beads, but I don't want any slack. So I'm going to be very careful with that and make sure that I have everything lined up nice and pretty. And then I'm going to get close again here so you can see what I'm going to do. I am going to bring my working thread around the 11-0 in my first unit here, and I'm going to sew down into the middle 3 8-0 seed beads. So I'm going to go down 4 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and exit the 4th 8-0 seed bead. Then I'm going to pull my thread through very gently, like so. Now I'm going to make sure my embellishment is right again, make sure everything looks pretty. I am going to cut my tail thread and just leave a little extra, and then I will get a lighter and blob that down on top of the little 11-0. We won't need to go through it anymore. So as you can see, I'm going to pick this up gently. I don't want it to fall apart, so I'm going to pull on my little tail, and I am going to, see this little thread? I'm going to blob it down. It's kind of long. I'm going to blob it down so that it creates a knot right on top of that first 11-0 seed bead. You can't really see it because it's crystal, but it's there, and it's going to prohibit this unit from falling apart now. So now we're going to work through these 3 beads just like we did on this side, and we're going to make the units that we made for our extension. So we're going to start that by picking up, I'm coming out towards the outside of my necklace, so I'm going to pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. Remember, we did 3 on the outside and 2 on the inside, so 3 11-0 seed beads. Then we'll pick up our 8-0 seed beads, which will be our attaching beads for the next unit, and then we'll pick up 2 more 11-0 seed beads. So you've got 3 11-0s, 2 8-0s, 3 11-0s, 3 8-0s, and 2 11-0s. We're coming out of this side of this 8-0 seed bead. We're going to count up that one, 1, 2, 3. We're going to go into the 3rd here. So we're working through the middle 3 8-0s of the 5 in the column. And we're going to pull this thread down, like so. Now we will sew around this complete unit and secure it. Put on the 6 millimeter bicone crystal, just like we did on the other side. You will do exactly the same thing. So if you need to back the film up and refresh yourself on how you did those units, great. If not, just make your 8 units, put on the other side of the clasp exactly how you put this side on, and then we will be back. We'll tie off. I'll show you how to sew through and tie off, and we will finish this project. So finish your extension, put on your clasping, and we'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, I have made my 8 units of extension. I put on my other end of my clasp exactly how I put this one on. I've sewn through it several times to secure it, and now I am coming out of the 8-0 seed beads that I attached my clasping to. So, show you here. I'm coming out right here. So all I'm going to do is just sew into the units a little bit, grab some thread bridges, tie off, and then cut my thread off. So coming out of these 3 8-0s here, I'm going to go into these 3 11-0s here. I'm going to turn this over just so it's easier for me to see the units that I'm sewing through. So I'm going to sew through these 3, and then right here in the corner, I'm going to grab a knot. So I'm just going to go right between the beads there on the thread, and I'm going to grab a 1/2 hitch knot, pull it down, make sure my thread goes between my beads. Then I'll go through this column of 8-0s here. And I'm going to grab a knot on the corner here. So I'll just go right in the corner of the beads, pull a knot right between them, like so, and then I'll go down these 2 beads here. And you're going to just continue doing this until you feel like it's secure. You know, just go through a few, tie a knot, go through a few more, tie a knot, and then sew through a few, and then cut your thread off, burn it down with a lighter after leaving a little bit of length so that you can burn it down, and then we will be back with the finished product. Okay, so I have finished the entire project. I've tied off and burned the thread down with my lighter, and this is what the project looks like. And I put it on my blue beading mat so that hopefully you could see it a little better. Let's try it on the yellow and see what it looks like also. Because when you have this many clear beads and you have the glass beads, the peanut glass beads, it's kind of hard to photograph. Well, they are hard to see. So let's try this one, see if that helps any. Let's give you a close-up of the center of the necklace because it really turned out quite pretty. That's the center. And this lays perfect as a collar necklace around your neck. I tried it on, and it lays beautifully. There's no issues with the way it lays whatsoever. It turns out great. It's right about, not quite 19 inches long. It's about 18.5 inches long. 18 3/4, right around there. So it's between 18 and 19 inches long, which is average neck size for a collar necklace. Now, if you're very small, you want to go 16. If you're bigger, you'll want to go 20. And you will, like I said, modify that by either making more of these units or more of these units. Now, I would probably modify it through here. If you get way too many, then you're not going to have it lay out real nice. But you could go quite a few more units. You could go probably 3 or 4 more units on either side here, and give yourself an inch or 2 more space for your length. But that's what that looks like. I think it turned out really pretty. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it's so long, but I think it was worth it. Have fun. Bye-bye.